has risen above the crop. The best of schoolboy football have stood tall, reaching the final phase of the season. Semi-finals are on the horizon and a finals to come. Whew. Yeah. Excited. And we tell you all about it right here on Fan Central Pitchside. I have returned and I am Michaelia Cohen along with the Nathan Curtis. Looking as bright as the sun.
Thank you. It's a beautiful shirt. I'll just, you can just say it's a good shirt. I like it.
Very cool.
Glenmuir is the gift that keeps on giving. Because in every match, they've just, grown better and better and better and better. And over the season, they have proven just how good they are. And as the defending Easter Champions Cup winners, that game against Ochi, they stormed back. And then they laid it to them with a beautiful 5-1 comeback victory. Something that we're definitely going to enjoy. Going to enjoy it right now. Let's take a look at it.
But these two teams had a lot. Here's Keanu Reed in the first half. Turned, Jason White got the shot off. It was deflected from nicely to Keneal Brown, who fired home so sweetly to open the scoring. Glenmuir, mentality monsters. And guess what? They are in red. That delivery, beautiful. Back to Orel Miller from Cohen, and he made no mistake. Goal number 18. They weren't wondering. A minute later, here they came again. Denzel Watson send that one nicely for for Orel Miller rather, and he now provided to Dunstan Cohen, and he moved to 9 goals in the first half. Second half action now. The routines from the corner kick bear dividends. The substitute Ronaldo Campbell came on and a player. More action. Nyron Allen. Look at the skill here. Evading 2 players. Gets it to Orain Watson. His first touch has grown tremendously. 3. More action. Jason White. Sending that one forward. Nyron Allen. Lovely touch. Bang on target.
Yeah, we made some expensive mistakes, very expensive mistakes, discipline wasn't there, some errors there and there, and throw off the game, and all of those things, fortunate that Champions Cup, so we can move forward, really.
Yeah, I thought the start wasn't bad for us. I just thought that there were some situations in the first half where we kept playing into their hands. On the flanks, they sent across 3 players, and you have to come inside then because the space will be left inside. We did it once in the second half that led to the goal that Dunstan Cohen scored. And then at halftime, we decided that we needed fresher people on the wings to stretch the field, and we'll find more spaces inside.
Glenmuir has definitely grown as a team, and they're just not letting up at this stage. They're showing the right mentality.
Killer mentality.
Despite going down a goal.
Yeah, that game, if you watched it, is almost like Ochi woke up Glenmuir. After that goal, they just stepped it up to a next level, and they went hard. And the beautiful part about that Glenmuir team is that they've not... It's not that they've been wavering, it's not that they've shown any real dip in form. They've consistently grown over the season, and that game is a testament to just how much they've grown, because Ochi is no walkover this season. They are. Yeah.
And, they will face Jamaica College in the final set for this Saturday at the National Stadium. I am absolutely looking forward to this game to see how the battle unfolds between 2 young coaches, Davian Ferguson of JC and Andrew Peart of Glenmuir. And Glenmuir are aiming to become the first back-to-back champions.
Yeah, and I know we've kind of not even spoken about Davian or Andrew all season, who are 2 quality coaches. They have the pedigree, they've been there, they've won. I think Glenmuir kind of have the edge.
And JC is unbeaten so
far. They are. I want to say that I feel that the Manning Cup has not been as difficult as the DaCosta Cup. It's a stretch, I know, but I think Glenmuir has had a harder road to where they are today, and I actually have them as favourites for that finals, for the Champions Cup. I really think Andrew has something special coming for that final, so I see Glenmuir being the one who kind of pulls it up. But you see that game with JC and Heidel really shows that, boy,
but it's a dog everybody fight. Saw KC as a team, and now it's Glenmuir. So how do you think this is going to What is this trajectory looking like?
So I put it here this way. I know we always kind of zone in on teams because you see the big scores and you see the top players.
Right.
Glenmuir has quietly been doing it, and I know many people had KC as one of the presumptive favorites with JC, and I said it from last week's show.
You're saying people perceive them as sleeping giants.
Yeah, I would say that you can't even perceive Glenmuir as a sleeping giant because they've been doing it, and they've been doing it over the season. And then the truth is, when you look at Glenmuir striker, Orain, I don't even remember his last name, Orain Watson, yes.
Right.
He has been prolific. I mean, he's given me the feels of some of the great Glenmuir strikers that we've seen over the years. Like, I always throw back to Cornel Learman, who had a brilliant time during his Da Costa Cup seasons. He's really shown, Orain has really shown that kind of quality. So for me, I see Glenmuir as the favourite to that final.
Andrew Peart has definitely built these players.
Yeah, man, he has.
Over time. And he has put in the work. And you can see it. I mean, they're reaping the fruit of
and I'll go as far as saying this, you know, Davian Ferguson has really taken a JC team that most people, you always want to call on him because he's a giant.
Right.
But he's made them overperform in my books. And they have a captain there who has just been tremendous all season. That JC team is powered by what I consider to be just grit. They know how to pull out a victory out of just about any situation. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that final looks like. I think it's going to be one of the best Champions Cup finals that we've seen in a few years. So I'm looking forward to it.
Battle of the coaches and battle between the teams.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
And we're going to throw to our first break. And we have so much more to come. You definitely do not want to miss it. So please stay tuned.
Now, welcome back to FC Pitchside as we turn our attention to the Da Costa Cup semi-finals, which is set for next Wednesday. Now, history beckons as Ocheria's High face off with McGraw, with the winner set to advance to the final for the first time. Now, in the second semi-final, last year's beaten finalists Glenmuir seek a second go as they battle parish mates and perennial rivals Garvey Maceo. Now, it must be said that the venues for the semi-finals have not yet been determined by ISA. But our little birdies have given us an understanding that we're thinking about Stets and the Trelawney Multipurpose Stadium for those semi-finals. Now, we will talk a little bit more about venues in the debate segment. But let's start with the Clarendon matchup with Garvey Maceo. Now, both teams come out of the same zone, that's Group I, with Glenmuir topping it on goal difference and Garvey Maceo finishing second, level on points. And during the group, Garvey Maceo beat Glenmuir. Who do we have? Who do we think?
For me, Glenmuir all the way.
Okay.
We just saw it on the graphic. Well, we're seeing it on the graphic right now. 53 goals for, 5 goals against in the first round. That is remarkable, right? And I was just looking at my table. Let me just pull it up back real quick.
Table ready, you know.
Just in the round, that's the second round just now. 13 goals for, 6 against. While for Garvey Maceo, 5 goals for, 4 against. Goals win matches. My friend Christopher Jackson would argue otherwise, but goals win games.
Yeah.
And I don't see Glenmuir just demolished
Ocheria's.
5-1.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone that is going to stop them. So for now and for the remainder of the campaign, Glenmuir all the way. For me, Glenmuir sweeps all the competitions.
As you said, goals win games.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, let's look at Glenmuir's road to the finals. Now, when we talk about them scoring goals, they've had a difficult time, but having played 19, as you see on the graphic, won 17 and lost only 2. That's 76 goals over 19 games.
Can you imagine?
Right? That is a tremendous... And I mean, as we said, Orain Watson has lived up to expectation. He has shown himself as quality.
30 goals?
And with 30 goals, over 30 goals. As I said, he's bringing back the glory years for Glenmuir with some top strikers. You're right. I can't look past. I can't...
I mean, don't get me wrong, you know.
Static.
Don't get me wrong. I love the underdog story from Ocheria's.
Right.
Why?
They said Glenmuir all the way to win that Costa Cup.
Yeah.
I know. So for me, I know that the Garvey Maceo match, I'm not going to say surprised. I'd be shocked if Garvey Maceo found a way to win this game. And don't get me wrong, as we said it, they're perennial rivals. Garvey Massey has been there, they've won the Costa Cup.
Right.
But this Glenmuir team this season, they've been good from the beginning and they've only gotten better.
Right.
For everybody else, there's been a kind of a regression. Glenmuir and Coach Peart have just shown that they came prepared to win, right? So I have them for Champions Cup. I have them for Ben Francis. I have them
clean sweep.
I have them for a clean sweep because let me say this to you. No, let me say why I said this to you. I thought Clarendon College was going to show a kind of pedigree, which they did, but eventually the pedigree wasn't enough.
Do you think
Glenmuir
that
has
they will
grown.
win the Olivier Shield as well?
I can't see why I should overlook them. As I said, I think the
Yes,
Manning
a
Cup
clean sweep.
is a clean
Like a
sweep.
brew.
Because I look
Or
and
sweep them
see a Manning Cup where there's been a greater level of parity.
Okay.
When you can have a team like Campion, who is no small feat for them to get to where they have shone. When you can have a team like Casey that don't really have the kind of star power that they had over the past few seasons,
Right.
they've shone. You are finding teams that have shown up all season doing better and better, which means that everybody's kind of on the same level. But when you look over to the Costa Cup side, there have been maybe 2-3 teams that have gone, hey, we're the standard, everybody else has to kind of reach to us, and at least 2 of them are in the finals. McGraw and Glenmuir sit there now in the semi-finals looking to make it to the finals.
Right.
And that's because throughout the entire season, even when they face some tough games, they've lost a few, they've come back stronger, better. I can't look past Glenmuir for the semi-final against Garvey Massey, and I can't look past them winning the Da Costa Cup.
I mean, I agree. We spoke about their first round encounters. Glenmuir won the first game 2-0, and then Garvey claimed the second game 2-1. But Garvey held a slight edge, beating Glenmuir twice in their last 5 meetings. Glenmuir with 1 win and 2 draws. I don't think that counts for much in a semi-final encounter.
Yeah,
Do you
because
agree?
on the day I could be performing poorly throughout the campaign.
Right.
Well, not poorly, but subpar.
Right, yeah.
And then on the day, I nip you
You're
1-0.
sure.
Just 1-0.
And I mean, if you're going to take the last 5 encounters, as the graphic shows, some of this is taken into account Garvey's glory years in the 2019 where they made some of the good runs. So for me, I'm talking about now. The teams that I see now on paper, the teams that I see now, the current form, it's hard for me to look and see, especially the Garvey Massey team that has been, yes, they're quality, but they've been kind of overperforming. So they had the luxury of a Glenmuir team that was rested when they beat them. I just can't look past Glenmuir going into this, right? So for me, for Garvey Massey, and if you look at the stats, they've drawn more than they've lost, which I always say to people, a drawn game is one of those that could have gone either way. And the goals conceded is where I see the biggest worry for me. So over 19 games to have conceded almost 1 a game against a team who is doing almost 3 a game. You're going to have to look at the stats and go, you give the edge.
Right.
You give the edge to the man who can show up and do what he needs to do.
Right.
So I have to give the edge to Glenmuir here going into that semi-final. So, for me, now let's look at their road to the semi-final, starting with Glenmuir and the numbers that we see here. Now, in 19 games, Glenmuir have won 17, lost 2, and have 76 goals for the... We're going to start that one, the over. Because we talk about this already. That's what I said, they kind of catch me off.
Yeah.
You want to... Because I say, when I look at me and say, well, I talk about this a second time. Yeah, we can start there, so. Yeah.
All right.
Calm me down. Now, we can switch over to the next semi-final. Now, Ocherius High and McGraw, that's the battle of the 2 underdogs. They have only met once before in the Da Costa Cup. McGraw ending that round of 16 game 3-2, winning it, obviously, in 2021. Now, who do you have in this semi-final?
As I said, Ocherius, I don't
Their
know.
team you can't underestimate.
For some reason,
Yeah.
just have a little tiny space. Left breast right. You see me? So ideally, I would want them to defeat McGrath and then play Glenmuir in the finals. And as I already picked Glenmuir to be the ultimate victors,
Right.
but just to go to the finals for Ochi, which would be their first time, as you mentioned just now.
Right.
I think that would be tremendous for them.
Yeah.
And they can look on that as somewhat of a win and build on that for next year and the years to come.
Yeah.
But definitely for me, Ocherius for against McGrath.
But you know, Ronaldo, we said it last week, and Michaela, you weren't here for it, but Ochi already making it to where they've made it is a win. I don't need them to win this game.
It doesn't
to
mean they have to settle for it. It doesn't mean they have to settle for
Blessed
it.
assurance, champion is mine. That's all I'll say.
I believe that they can win this match and then face off with Glenmuir again and say, hello, we're here. That's what I'm saying.
I agree
I
with you.
believe in underdogs.
I
believe
agree,
in underdogs.
because for me, and let me say it this way, you don't want to make it to a semi-finals and lose, because you don't know if you're going to make it back to a semi-finals. This makes it worse for a team like Ochi. That is the first team from St. Anne to make it this far in the Da Costa Cup. I think there's a little bit of extra juice in there for them. Now, I know we've said that Glenmuir all the way. You can't necessarily say no, though, to that team that is powered by an entire parish, probably by an entire nation, because most people are going to root for Ochi going, boy, you know, this is the kind of story that you'd love to see pop up ever so often. The team that does everything right. They build slowly, they try their best, they've made it to where they make it, and they're playing football the right way, because Ochi is scoring goals. So it's not even like they're doing this and dragging out games. They're playing. So it's a really, really good one for me. And the 5-1 loss to Glenmuir is a blip. It's a blip for me. But I'm going to answer, do you think it'll affect them?
Yes and no. No, because it's a different competition.
Okay.
So I think that plays somewhat of a role into
how you play on the day.
How you play on the day. So it's all right, drop out a Champions Cup 5-1, but we have the Da Costa Cup, so we can ramp it up again.
But the Ocherius coach did say that this is not going to affect them in any way.
So you see, so it's all about mentality.
Ocherius, I have my vote. Don't listen to them. Me?
I like what she says to them. Don't get me wrong. Ochi has all the ability, have shown the kind of style
Of course,
that
because they're in
can
the
win.
semis.
Yeah, that can win.
I agree.
Of course.
So I don't think we have to over-debate the concept of if they're worthy to be or if they can. I think what you have to really look on and enjoy for me, I don't even want to try and do a prediction per se, though we've called it out, is that I want us to continue to sit down and enjoy the fact that Ochi has played some very good football and has represented St. Anne really well, and has shown that really and truly for the Da Costa Cup or just for any schoolboy football competition, you can do what you need to do. And for me, what happened in the Champions Cup game, sometimes, and these are 16, 17, not even turned 18 properly year olds, you go to the National Stadium.
Yeah. For the first time.
For the first time.
Probably.
The horns blaring.
Right.
Your family up into the crowd. And you have a team like Glenmuir who was there last year.
Yeah, that is true.
And the years before.
That is true.
I can imagine that if I was on the Ochi team, but I'm worried about taking all the pictures to say, yo, mommy, daddy, your son.
I mean, this is the path that they took to the semi-finals. Ocherius won 11 out of 19 games, 3 defeats and 5 draws, with 56 goals and 17 against. Won 9 of 15, losing 2, and scoring 41 goals.
So that's
conceding 21.
So when you look at the combination there, Ochi scores more, concedes less. And again, you know, Ochi is not a team that was expected to even come out of them group. True. I'm not too worried about the games lost, the games drawn. I'm looking at how they played, and they have played great. And as I said, I can't take the Champions Cup as a signal that they can't win come the semi-finals. And I think they've learned. No, so when you look at the McGrath numbers there for me, the most telling thing there's 21 goals against.
Right.
I always say that a strong defense can win your championship or lose your championship. Conceding more than 1 goal a game is a dangerous place to be. And I think an Ochi team that scores 56 goals over 19 games is the type of team that can show up in a semi-finals, beat McGrath, and I think they can give a Glenmuir team that they faced once already. They've gotten the jitters out, them get the feelings, the little butterflies in the stomach, and then can go into a Da Costa Cup final and give their best. That's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember that for Ben Francis last year, McGrath won it last year.
So they
have that experience of going to a finals and winning.
But you see, I'm telling you why you're not discrediting it.
Right.
But sometimes that's also the greatest vice against you. Having been there and done that, you don't have that mindset as to how you need to be hungry. the one thing I've seen from the Ochi game, even with Ochi playing in the Champions Cup semis, them hungry, you know, but tiredness is a factor. The stage is a factor. You have all of these things that tell. Now, for these young players, when they get an opportunity to have these things happen over and over, and that's a beautiful part for Ochi. Them got you a Champions Cup. Them get it out. So, coach can say, all right, and I know it feel like now. You've been there. This game is the one where I'm saying, bring it again.
It is not time for debate. I don't know why Nathan is going but it is time for a break. And when we return, it's actual debate time, and Ronaldo and Nathan will argue it out in the debate segment. You cannot afford to miss it. Please stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us on Fan Central Pitchside. We move into team talk with St. Catherine High, looking to make it into the Manning Cup final. Very awkward. St. Catherine will face a stern test against Jamaica College in the Manning Cup semi-final, set for next week, Tuesday. JC are the only unbeaten team in the schoolboy football season, and they head into the games as favorites. Concur? Do you agree?
Yes.
Oh, Lord, Nathan.
Yeah, no, I mean, I said it last week. I still does. There's something about how St. Catherine has performed. I think that game against Campion helped show them something that they will bring to the semi-final. I like the fact that you have a team that has had a very tough road to where they've gotten to. They've shone, they've grown, they've shown a certain level of pedigree, and even when their backs were against the wall, 2-3 minutes away from being eliminated from the Manning Cup, they found that extra gear to get that goal. So in my mind, you look at something like that, and don't get me wrong, JC has some of the same type of stories, but JC is also a team that was rebuilding. So where they are and how they're performing is a testament to good coaching, is a testament to team spirit. But I think St. Catherine High has equally good coaching in Anthony Patrick, who has been there, has done that as well. And they have a team who, again, have shown the same kind of grit. Something just says all St. Catherine final for the Manning Cup. I don't know why.
For the sake of the show and the discussion, let me give you a rebuttal. As we were discussing earlier, this is similar to both KC and JC. This is not the teams that we're used to, but kudos to them. They're still in the semifinals. And little Indian there, Dean John.
Yeah, man.
Trust me, I've seen
the engine that could.
Week in, week out, JC underperforming, and then him say, you know what? Put the team on his back.
I can't remember who they played last week. They were down, one man down, and it's almost like he was the rest of the team. Right?
And then
to win in the end for me, and that's the testament to how JC has been, you know. Very well coached. They know the systems, they understand how they need to work in any situation, so they know how to win. That's the point of those things, you know, they know how to win. But you can't discredit St. Catherine High, which I think that just means that for both semifinals that we're looking at here, in the Manning Cup, you're about to see some well-coached teams that have been there, done that, with some quality little players in there, who are going to probably give us an exciting group of games to come.
In a sense, what Nathan just said, some system baller. Historically, this has been a very, very competitive and even fixture. 3 draws in the last 5 matches, 2 wins for JC, though St. Catherine will enter the stats against them.
Right.
Earlier in the show, we say numbers matter when we were talking about Glenmuir and Ochi. Nathan, numbers matter.
The numbers, again, so when you talk about historical games, again, if you look at the graphics, some of this is taken into account. A 2017 JC team, if you remember 2017 JC.
That was junior, no, that was before junior.
That was after.
After, excuse me,
right?
After junior.
We kind of reach our old part of it. But those were some of those imperious years, the last few years.
The beauty of it is that every year the team changes. It is dynamic, it is not static.
So there's always the possibility of the stats changing.
Right.
I'm not counting out St. Catherine High because, again, I think everything is also seasonal. When you look at this season, yes, JC have been undefeated, but look at some of those games. We can track it back. There've been a few that they've been
very close. Very close.
They have been
started to
close.
get nervous a little
So
bit.
I'm not overly concerned about the stats there because it's also about the eyeball test. The eyeball test is where you watch the games and you see. I see two teams that are evenly matched in St. Catherine High and JC. So I am not going to sit down and be drawn into the idea. And then when you look at the statistics, though as a head-to-head encounter, give you a different picture. When you look at how they perform this season, both teams scored some quality goals, good numbers, and the defenses have been strong. That's why you make it to the semifinals of the Manning Cup. I think you're just going to see a solid game, and I think Anthony Patrick has something in the bag waiting to unleash on JC.
I mean, JC has definitely shown. JC has definitely shown that they have quality. That quality is at both ends of the pitch. They have scored 81 goals, letting in only 9, winning 10 of 14 games, and remain unbeaten. What we say?
Yeah, but
unbeaten, right? Okay. And St. Catherine's record looks like this. You can see on the graphics here: 1 defeat in 14 games, 10 wins, and 40 goals to their name, with 8 against.
So right then and there, JC has scored double the goals that St. Catherine have scored. But
Remember
equal
what I
difference
said?
between 8 to 9.
What have you been saying?
No, and I warn you.
The day.
Unbeaten.
No, you're going to say undefeated, but I go back to the same point I said. Defenses is usually what? Win or lose.
Championships.
Okay.
When you go back and you look at the quality of the teams and you look at the quality of the loss or the victories, there have been games when you look at where St. Catherine High sit today that they have persevered to get to where they are. They have had groups of death. They've had tough challenges, and they've found a way to consistently show up and perform on the day. So I don't see it as a clear, because everybody's saying JC's favorites, and they have to be. With 80 goals scored, being undefeated, you have to be favorites. But I think it is far more even than the stats are giving, right? So I'm just waiting for it, and I think what will ultimately happen is that we're going to have a very, very good semifinals. Now, we're going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to go deeper into the next semifinal between the great
Purple and white?
no, you're not going to say it. Would it be Heidel? More after the break. Now, the matchup between Heidel and Kingston College is a highly anticipated fixture. It's a repeat of last year's semifinal where Heidel edged Casey on penalties. The question is, will there be purple revenge or another Heidel victory song?
Well, I know you always say it's going to be a Heidel victory song, as you predict your all St. Catherine Manning Cup final.
Yes.
But I am going to go with the side from North Street, purple revenge. It's been a few years since Casey has hoisted the coveted Manning Cup title, and I think that although we mentioned earlier that the teams are a bit underwhelming, it's more of a system as opposed to star ballers as we have Whisper last year. So I just feel like say they're going to
find
a way and just do what needs to be done.
The earlier this year we've seen where
the 6-1.
Yeah, the 6-1 defeat. So
that's why I was going to say. So I'll say this, and I agree. I think KC has flattered to deceive. That's so. When you talk about the 87 goals, the most goals scored, I think, in schoolboy football this year, I don't see KC as the most prolific team. I think earlier zones, and we had some teams that, we're not going to call them names, right?
Champion.
That helped to. No, Champion did lose 5-1 or 5-love to KC in the first round. So that is a kind of game that a team that lost 5-love to you comes back around and almost makes it to the semi-final. It just shows that you can't really take the goals scored too seriously sometimes, because some of those games are garbage time. A team goes 2-0 down and they just give up. They don't want to play anymore, and you end out a game.
But
7-love.
Kingston College, they have not been consistently at their best. You have to be honest. But a 6-1 win over Heidel in the second round should add a bit of confidence to that. They have beaten Heidel 3 times in the last 5 games. I'm not laughing at that. I'm just saying that.
And those 3 times would have included last season when you had a striker of Chelsea level quality in Whisper. So
the year before.
So if you take that out, if you remove that out of the equation, you will find that you have, for me, a greater chance of seeing Heidel show up in this game. And again,
though they've lost.
even though
I'm not laughing at them, I'm not laughing.
Even though, and they've only scored 40. Again, we can't say only
because they've conceded 9.
Right, that's averaging almost 2 goals a game. For me, those are the kind of stats with a good attack, good defense. You can show up in a semi-final and win a game. So I don't know how anybody else feels, but for me, what I look at is, again, a semi-final match that is evenly poised. And I'm not going to take, as I said, I'm not going to take KC's 87 goals as gospel. You beat Campion, who made it to the quarterfinals, who turned around and beat some of those same teams by 5. So take those out, you have a much different picture.
As you mentioned before, my boss, KC has scored the most goals in the schoolboy football this season with 87 goals. And they have shown that they have what it takes to find the net. Heidel will have to be very organized to keep them out. And as we say, Heidel conceded 9 and KC has conceded 8. So it is not impossible. Certainly not impossible.
It's not.
Heidel have been a low-scoring team, however, with 40 goals, conceding 13 on their way to the semi-final. Oh, so excuse me, it wasn't 9. It's actually 13. 4 more. In the double figures, which I don't really like. You're conceding in the double figures.
Why is that?
But because, as we mentioned before, defense wins championships.
It does.
And as a Chelsea fan, which I hate week in, week out, we cannot keep a clean sheet. I like to say 2-0, 1-0, even 1-0. But the 2-1, it shows that there is a bit of weakness. And when the opposing team, as I would hope, when they're studying film on who they're going to play, say, okay, so the little left back right there, so him tend to go sleep at certain moments in the match. So I would like to eliminate that. I strongly believe in a solid backline, because if you don't concede, you can't lose.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, you have the term favorites. The favorites for both semi-finals are the teams that have been well poised the whole season, have scored a lot of goals, have not conceded a lot. Of course, it's going to be KC and JC. But I would easily go back and say, let's look at the last round. Both Heidel and St. Catherine High show that they have that extra gear. When faced with a tough challenge, have that extra gear. And again, I'll go back and say it. For the top maybe 10 teams in Manning Cup this season, the difference between them has not been that much. That's why we've not seen the kind of scores that we were seeing in the first round. A lot of the games now are 3-2, 2-1, 1-0. Why? Because these are the teams that score goals, have strong defenses, and on the day, with the right pitch, with the right environment, with the right coaching tactic, have shown up and have surprised. So I would not be surprised. I would not be shocked for that all St. Catherine final in the Manning Cup.
That's why at the start of the show, I've said that the cream has risen.
They have risen to the crop.
True.
They have.
On that note, we go into another break right here on Fan Central Pitchside. But don't worry yourself. When we return, history class is next.
Thank you so much for staying with us. And now it is time for the debate. Let me tell you, I have a love-hate relationship with the debate just because of Nathan. He's such a sore loser. But this week, Ronaldo and Nathan will take up the argument sword and wield it at each other. They go toe-to-toe on this topic. Should Issa have a fixed venue for the Da Costa Cup semi-finals and final matches? This topic, it comes because for next Wednesday's matches, the venues are yet to be decided. And so, Nathan, you have a minute to make your points. Gracefully, please.
Yes, they should have fixed venues. It's a simple concept. So right now where there is a lot of uncertainty for the fans trying to figure out how you're going to travel to the game, for teams who want to kind of build a certain level of support, you want to be able to kind of bust out those fans as well. And for me, the most important part about a fixed venue is you have quality venues that exist in rural Jamaica. I think for the for the Trelawney Multipurpose Stadium, St. Catherine Sports Complex, you have States that has a quality football field out there. I even think you have one out. Can't even remember the rest of them. There are quite a few that you have. Now, for me, one of the things that you get from having dedicated games going to venues is that you can prepare for them. You can prepare the pitch, you can do a certain level of advertising, you can do a certain level of building of that kind of support. So when you have fixed venues, it allows for greater organization and preparation so that the teams can just kind of focus. You don't have to be worried too much. You don't have to worry if your parents are get to come watch. You don't have to worry if the match is too far from where you live. And then I think that also allows for the development of those spaces, making sure that they're always prepared.
And that is your minute.
So for me,
yes, Mr.
Obviously, going against, I wouldn't like, the only reason why though that I wouldn't want the fixed venue is because I like, in knockout games, I tend to prefer a bit of uncertainty.
Why
right?
is that?
Because you're Glenmuir, I am Ocherius, let's just say for example. You already know that we're going to play at Trelawney Multipurpose. You're closer, I'm closer to Trelawney Multipurpose than you are. So you may have more Ocherius fans coming over to that stadium as opposed to Glenmuir. So I like the uncertainty, I like a bit of chaos for the knockout stages. And then whoever comes out on top, you say, okay, you deservedly win. Because both of us, we were exposed to the uncertainty and the chaos, the fracas, and you won, I didn't. So it's more of just having a level playing field, because on both sides it would be a level playing field, because even if, to your point...
Don't you think that the chaos would add too much chaos?
It's not necessarily chaos in terms of...
Would they be able to...
It's just more of...
More vibes chaos.
So let me say it this way. No, I understand it adds to, and we're in the social media age, so it adds to the spectacle. There's always good things to have from the spectacle. But I still think that a football match is something that should be determined on the field. I think things that take away from your ability to deliver on the field are sometimes unwarranted and unwanted. So, yeah, you want to have a spectacle, but I think that spectacle should be organized. I think there should be enough about how you put together the game that it doesn't leave a player who, for argument's sake, boy, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get to the game. Right? Let's just because he wants to bring out all them family. No, all I'm saying is,
on a sports day, no, boss. Your mother don't need for the other stadium. On a sports day.
You didn't play sports in that school?
I did. I was a 110-meter hurdler at Olmaz, and I played field hockey at Olmaz.
Okay, good.
I went to Manning Cup training
Did your parents come out to your competitions?
No, not once.
Not once? This is why you never made the national team. All they say is, the man never make it for the national team. If you're looking at the crowd, daddy, they up there go, yo, I'm my boy that, because I guess that adds to it. You always want to have that fan support, and organization allows for that fan support, and it allows for the development of those spaces. And again, it's fine enough.
But what if both schools are from that area?
That's fine.
For
me,
exactly.
But that's something you can't get away from.
Should they journey all the way to Trelawney if they're from the same
But to me, that's something you can't get away from, because even in the Manning Cup, there are teams that come from St. Catherine, there are teams that are going to have a natural base of support that's closer. You're not going to say, oh, say, boy, it look like, say, his stats they're so close to X, we're not going to make them. No.
Is Glenmuir and Marcus Garvey going to carry them fans all the way to Garvey Massier, sorry. all the way to Trelawney?
I will say it this way. Maybe this is where Graham start coming out. I remember the days when the Costa Cup semi-finals and finals were being played at Stadium. And when you looked in Stadium, you saw people who traveled all the way from Westmoreland, Montego Bay, you name it. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to a semi-finals and a finals of the Costa Cup or Manning Cup, if it a keep on the moon, I'm there for my team.
Oh.
So for me, the organization only helps you to get a better quality of game without having the disruption and the craziness or the chaos. Sports day. Let me know how it's supposed to be a sports day. It's an organized sports day.
You were so funny for that.
Product to idea.
Oh my God. Anyways, this is the part where I have a love-hate relationship with the debate. I'm about to announce the winner. And the winner is, I feel like you just contradicted yourself on your last point, Nathan. I was rooting for you all the way until the end.
Okay.
And I believe that the winner is Ronaldo.
No. You know what? No. It is
What do you
fine.
mean?
It is fine. It's fine, man. No. Sometimes they have to rub it.
He's trying not to look like a sore loser.
No, it's fine.
So some would beg to differ, you know.
I'm not going to say the word beg.
I was rooting for
and
Nathan.
logically differ, but
I was rooting for Nathan, but then he
I
contradicted
won't ask for a
himself.
recount.
He contradicted himself on the last point.
When
You threw away yourself on the last point. I was rooting for you, you know.
Folks,
You see your shirt bright?
We're not going to ask for a recount.
Your shirt bright,
I
and you were.
General, I'm not going to say it's a conspiracy.
No, man.
But if you...
No, man. That's fine, you know. I'm okay.
You're bright.
The people at home.
I didn't select the winner.
People at home know, right?
I didn't select myself.
Social media, who know you'll...
Yes.
I didn't select myself.
Well, I'll leave it there, so thank you.
We will continue this debate onto social media. Let me know if I chose the winner properly, right? I think I did. And it's not a bias that I have against Nathan. But that was the debate segment. And please stay tuned for Team Talk. That is up next.
Welcome back to Fan Central Pitchside. Now, with Glenmuir and Jamaica College booking their spots in the Champions Cup final, we head to social media to get some reactions. Nathan, You ready, my boss?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. First up, we are going to start with Glenmuir. So, Lucky_ATM3 say, 1 Glenmuir.
Yeah, true. Glenmuir showed up in that semi-final. There's no other way to put it. 5-1 victory over a team that has been kind of growing over the season is a testament to how good they are.
Next up, Chris.fs says, 1 Glenmuir, never 2.
We can't tell it. I hate to say it, but it is never 2 things.
Is it a TikTok thing? I don't know.
Maybe it's an age thing.
Yeah, it's an age thing. We're too old for that. Next, Andre_Major Key says, mighty God, how wanna deal with the little man them, so? Glenmuir Football actually replied and says, it's in our nature.
It's kind of true,
I love it.
I love that. And I love when the teams can have their own social media presence and add to it. And it's true. They kind of showed up Ocherius high in a particular way. Maybe that has only set up Ochi to come back after them in a day.
And that's what I just never said. Them are both now. I hope.
He who laughs best.
I mean, to be fair, we did both pick them. Next up, Debs2500 says, the place is red. Glenmuir again replies and says, red is everywhere.
I agree.
Nathan, you're in a bit of red.
No, the red that they're talking about is probably campaign red next season. Coming back strong.
Next. Delhi_Lemmy says, hashtag Glenmuir proud. 1 match away from being crowned the Champions Cup 2024 winners.
First back-to-back champions potentially, so let's look out for it.
All right, and on the JC side, Jason_Sinclair says, I wonder if this team can place themselves. Oh, it's another Glenmuir. I wonder if this team can place themselves among our legends of 2004. You may know that, Nathan, because I'm back in a year.
Man, Colonel Learman 2000. I think about 600 goal the man scored. Yeah. The man that saw score goal on the game done. It was amazing to watch. So, will they make it to that level? I have a sneaky feeling the answer will be yes. But
I was expecting a no. You tricked me. All right, next up, Jamaica College time. Fervet Nation says young Jenna.
Yeah,
next up, Day1_ Snapple says, good game my side, hashtag Idle. I mean, Idle lost one love.
It's one love.
Tough 1 love, and 1-0s are often so hurtful.
It is.
And as the Arsenal man in the place would have said, 1-0 to the Arsenal, them love them thing there. So trust me, as the opposing team,
and our semi-finals
1-0,
yeah, it's rough.
Next
but they did have a good game, man.
Certainly. Ready Cuisine says, boy, I feel like Idle dash it to a star. Too many chances in the last part.
That's what I was thinking. And when I watched that game, you saw a Heidel team that was poised to do the upset. And I don't know. It's schoolboy football. You're going to always have teams not being so clinical. It's just a part of the game. Unfortunate, but it's a good game for watch anyway. Take it.
That is it. Next up. Finally, Grabber, interesting name. Big up Reece James, that's a Reece James tattoo, by the way. Grabber says, JC versus Glenmuir High School in the final. Heated.
I agree.
We have
Glenmuir for the victory. And we are going to say that Clarendon College and Stets will contest the final of the Ben Francis Cup after Stets beat from 3-2, while Clarendon College edged out Denby 1-0 on Tuesday. The Walker Cup finalists were decided today as Mona High battled Stats and Excelsior faced Woolmer's boys. We have the highlights for both games.
1 Euro circle.
And then in the 42nd minute, Woolmer's playing themselves into trouble as they did for most of that first half. Scott turning provider for Kivan Salmon, man of the match. Kivan Salmon to bang home with his right boot for his 9th of the season and give Excelsior the lead in this one. And he couldn't believe it, and I can bet he couldn't believe this one either. Excelsior keeping up with their attack. Maybe that could have been a foul, not called. It broke for Williams, whose deflected effort beat Dryden, flew into the back of the net. And that's a goal that essentially assured that Excelsior would be heading to yet another Walker Cup final.
One more look at it.
we started out fairly well based on the direct long balls that we nullified. But, you know, the concentration went where we gave away the ball in the middle of the park, results in our goal. And as you can see, the second goal come from a deflection. But it's a good season for the Wolmer's family.
Based on the condition is not what would have lent us to play the usual excessor type of football. Nonetheless, we made the adaptation, we made the adjustment, and we were able to control the game for large periods of the game. And as I said before, I'm pretty proud of the boys.
And that's a wrap for this week's episode of Fan Central Pitchside. Nathan, like the program to them?
Always. It's a good program, and as we get to the end of the season... No, it's fine. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but the people know who's the winner.
When they come prepared now, Black Forces...
They wait for dead.
You know what Black Forces... You know what Black Forces mean?
I should have given you a funeral, but next time.
All right, boss. On behalf of Michaela, that's Nathan, I'm Ronaldo Adams. We'll see you all next week, yeah? Take care.